Most people think cheap motorcycles are for beginners, disposable, a stepping stone before you upgrade. That assumption collapses the moment you look at who's still riding the same machines 20 or 30 years later. Here's the uncomfortable truth. The bikes seniors love aren't cheap because they're bad. They're cheap because the market moved on before they ever wore out. That's not nostalgia talking. That's economics, metallurgy, and patience. If you're past the stage of proving anything, these motorcycles start to make a dangerous amount of sense. Number 18. Honda Rebel 250. This bike was never ambitious, that's why it survived. With roughly 16 horsepower and a soft delivery, it was priced low when new and stayed there ever since. Seniors love it because nothing about it demands urgency. It's for riders who value calm control and low seat height. You'll hate it if acceleration excites you. It still outclasses modern beginner cruisers in predictability. The downside is obvious. You will feel underpowered the moment traffic opens up. Number 17. Yamaha Virago 250. A small V-twin pretending to be something bigger. Power sits around 21 horsepower, but the character does more work than the numbers. When it launched, it was affordable style. Today, it's undervalued simplicity. This bike is for relaxed cruising and short rides. It still beats modern small cruisers in mechanical honesty. The trade-off is vibration and limited highway comfort. Number 16. Suzuki GN125. This motorcycle exists because reliability once mattered more than excitement. About 12 horsepower, air-cooled, carbureted. It was priced as transportation, not aspiration. Seniors love it because it behaves the same every single day. It outclasses modern commuters in repair cost and parts availability. But comfort fades quickly on longer rides, and braking reminds you of its age. Number 15. Honda CG125. The CG125 was engineered for places where failure wasn't an option. Pushrod design. Around 11 horsepower. It was cheap, new, and remains cheap now, despite outliving entire product categories. It's for riders who respect machines that don't argue. You'll hate it if refinement matters. It still beats modern bikes in cold starts and long-term abuse tolerance. The downside is noise, vibration, and very old-school braking. Number 14. Yamaha SR400. Kickstart only. No electronic safety net. Around 23 horsepower from a large single that values torque over drama. This bike suits riders who enjoy ritual and involvement. It still outclasses modern bikes in tactile feedback. But this is where the trade-off bites. Cold mornings and traffic demand patience. Number 13. Honda Nighthawk 250. A twin-cylinder engine tuned for balance, not excitement. About 19 horsepower, delivered so smoothly it almost feels electric. It was cheap because it didn't stand out. Seniors love it for the same reason. It still beats modern small bikes in engine feel and neutrality. The downside is presence. It disappears in fast traffic. Number 12. Suzuki GS500. This is where cheap stops meaning slow. Around 45 horsepower. Enough torque to cruise comfortably. Simple steel frame and minimal bodywork. It's for riders who want one bike to do everything adequately. It still outclasses many modern bikes in serviceability. The trade-off is refinement. You feel the road, the wind, and the age. Number 11. Kawasaki KZ440. Built when weight and steel meant stability, not inefficiency. Roughly 43 horsepower delivered with calm authority. This bike is for riders who appreciate steady power and long gearing. It still beats many modern retros in engine smoothness at sane speeds. The downside is mass and braking that demands anticipation. But the deeper you go down this list, the clearer the pattern becomes. These weren't budget compromises. They were long-term decisions. Number 10. Honda CB750. SOHC models. Before legend became marketing language, it meant something measurable, around 67 horsepower, inline-four smoothness, that redefined what affordable performance could be. When it launched in 1969, it cost roughly $1,500. Adjusted for inflation, that's still less than many mid-tier modern bikes that won't last half as long. Seniors love it because it was the first time power felt civilized. It's for riders who appreciate mechanical harmony without electronic filters. You'd hate it if you want modern braking and featherweight handling. It still outclasses many modern bikes in engine longevity and rebuildability. The trade-off is weight and outdated suspension geometry. Number 9. Yamaha XS650. This wasn't built to be refined. It was built to endure. About 53 horsepower from a parallel twin that pulses with deliberate force. It was affordable in the 1970s and remains attainable today. This bike suits riders who like personality over polish. It still beats many modern retros in raw mechanical character and customization ease, but vibration is constant and maintenance demands attention. Number 8. Suzuki DR650. Now we step into durability disguised as versatility. Roughly 43 horsepower. Air-cooled simplicity in a world chasing liquid-cooled precision. Originally priced as a no-frills dual sport, its modern value reflects its stubborn relevance. It's for riders who want one motorcycle to outlast trends. It still outclasses many newer adventure bikes in field serviceability. The downside is wind exposure and dated suspension feel on pavement. Number 7. Kawasaki KLR 650. This motorcycle became a tool for people who measured distance in continents. About 37 horsepower. Not fast, but unstoppable when maintained. It was priced accessibly when new and still is. Seniors love it because it rewards steady riding. It still beats modern adventure bikes in simplicity and cost of ownership. The trade-off is weight up high and modest power at highway speeds. Number 6. Honda Shadow 600 VLX. Cruiser simplicity without excessive chrome. Around 39 horsepower from a liquid-cooled V-twin tuned for longevity. It's for riders who want relaxed torque and low seat confidence. It still outclasses many modern cruisers in reliability and manageable size. But highway passing requires planning, and suspension comfort is limited. Number 5. BMW R80. Airhead models. Now we enter machines built to last lifetimes. Around 50 horsepower from an air-cooled boxer twin. When new, it wasn't cheap. Today, compared to modern touring bikes, it's almost modest. This is for riders who appreciate engineering clarity. Valve adjustments are accessible. The engine layout is honest. It still outclasses modern tourers in mechanical transparency. The downside is cost of parts and aging electrical systems. Number 4. Honda CB500. 1990s twin. This motorcycle never tried to be iconic. About 57 horsepower. Linear delivery. Steel frame built for durability. It was affordable and overlooked. Seniors love it because it never surprises you. It still beats many modern middleweights in engine lifespan. The trade-off is styling that blends in and suspension that shows its era. Number 3. Yamaha XJ900. Touring without theatrics. Roughly 95 horsepower, but tuned for smoothness rather than aggression. It was priced as practical performance in its day. Today, it's undervalued long-distance comfort. It still outclasses many modern sport tours in mechanical simplicity. The downside is bulk and carburetor maintenance. Number 2. Honda Goldwing GL1000. Early models, before it became a luxury couch, it was an engineering statement. Around 80 horsepower from a flat-4 engine that ran like machinery built for aircraft. When introduced in the mid-1970s, it was expensive. Today, early models can cost less than a small modern commuter. Seniors love it because it was designed to cross countries, not coffee shops. It still outclasses modern touring bikes in rebuildable durability. But weight and fuel consumption are realities you cannot ignore. Number 1. Harley-Davidson Sportster 883. Carbureted era. This is where longevity meets stubborn identity. Around 50 horsepower, delivered with unmistakable rhythm. It wasn't the fastest Harley, and it wasn't the most refined. It was simply durable. Originally priced as an entry point into American V-twin culture, today it's one of the most affordable long-term cruisers available. It's for riders who value torque, sound, and mechanical presence. You'd hate it if vibration bothers you, or if modern safety aids feel essential. It still outclasses many contemporary cruisers in raw mechanical engagement and parts availability. The trade-off is comfort, heat, and an uncompromising feel.